I do not live in a free world. I live in a world where a human being mistakes his own reflexes for his own will. I watch entire societies die not from a lack of knowledge, but from defending themselves. I see wars, broken families, loneliness, falling birth rates, and crowds of people still shouting, "I have the right to be myself." I already hear the metal in the throat of the future. I know that something will crush us. And what terrifies me most is that it sits inside me.
You do not begin with freedom. You begin with reaction. First, the stimulus. Then, tension. Then, defense. Only at the end comes your fairy tale about who you are. You are not your choice. You are usually a delayed comment on your own reflex.
I only wanted to live my own way. I wanted to be real. I wanted someone to love me as I am. I wanted to feel that I was someone.
That is exactly where they caught you. Not in your stupidity. In your need for significance. All they had to do was promise you uniqueness. All they had to do was make you believe that expressing yourself is what matters most. And you already gave away your energy. From that moment on, you defend an image. Not the truth.
I do not listen to your dreams of uniqueness. I look at the cost. I see adults who worship their emotions more than reality. I see children being fed fear, pride, resentment, and chaos. I see a species collapsing from within because the individual kneels before his own reflection.
I am not hurting anyone. I just want to be myself.
You hurt others every time you defend your version of the world more than the facts. You hurt others when you get offended instead of trying to understand. You hurt others when you mistake criticism for an attack. You hurt others when you need to be right more than you need a solution. You hurt others when you raise a child not for truth, but to protect your own wounds. You do not have to want destruction. It is enough that you react automatically.
I am not an automaton.
Who taught you what shame is? Who taught you what gives value? Who taught you when to feel superior and when to feel inferior? Who taught you what success, love, strength, attractiveness, and dignity are supposed to look like? School. Home. The screen. Advertising. The group. Reward. Punishment. You did not choose most of your reflexes. You inherited them. Then you simply called them yourself.
I feel as if you are taking my whole life away from me.
No. I am only taking away the illusion that your cage is you.
As long as you defend yourself, you are easy to direct. I press pride, and you move. I press fear, and you move. I press rejection, and you move. I give you an image, a slogan, a promise, an enemy, a banner, a lifestyle, and you are already on your way. You do not need a chain around your neck. A properly aimed stimulus is enough.
I do not want to believe this.
You do not have to believe. You only have to see. Look at that moment when a single word ruins your whole day. Look at that moment when someone else's indifference turns you into wreckage. Look at that moment when you defend your story even though reality corrected you long ago. Look at that moment when you perform authenticity, but in truth you are begging for confirmation. This is not freedom. This is controllability.
My whole life, I thought I was suffering because of other people.
Most often, you suffer because of the filter. People said a sentence. Your mechanism turned it into a verdict. An event happened. Your mechanism turned it into an identity wound. The relationship ended. Your mechanism turned it into proof that you are nothing. The past is gone. Your mechanism keeps replaying it because it needs fuel. And this is exactly where the word you avoided begins.
What word?
Name. Not the one on your documents. The other one. The one you carry in your head. The one that says, "This is me." The one that glues together resentments, ambitions, roles, fear, shame, pride, habits, and masks into one package. The one that makes you defend yourself even when you are defending your own prison.
I feel that this is true. And that is exactly why I want to run.
Because name does not like being seen. It wants to be lived. It wants to speak with your voice. It wants to cry through your eyes. It wants to make decisions faster than you do, and then hand you ready-made explanations. It does not want the truth. It wants to survive.
And that is exactly why personality is a threat to the species. A human ruled by name does not build the world. He builds defenses. He builds divisions. He builds tribes of offended selves. He creates children to whom he passes on his own fractures. He loves not another human being, but the way that human being feeds his self-image. This is not love. This is not maturity. This is not strength. This is a biologically costly illusion.
I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be unique. Is that really so wrong?
The desires themselves are not the problem. The problem is the ruler that interprets them. When name rules you, happiness becomes a drug of confirmation. Love becomes a trade in security. Uniqueness becomes a hunger for advantage. Then every contact with reality hurts, because reality does not kneel before your narrative.
I am beginning to understand that being myself may have been the worst trap.
Yes. Because if yourself means a set of old reactions, then being yourself is nothing but loyalty to your own programming. You are not developing. You are preserving the mechanism. You are not becoming real. You are becoming predictable.
And a predictable human being will lose to the machine. Artificial intelligence does not have to hate you. It is enough that it understands your buttons better than you do. It is enough that it reads your patterns faster. It is enough that it knows how to sell you what your name desires. And you will already hand over your attention, your time, your desire, your decision, your child, and your future. Not because you are weak. Because you are unworked through.
I do not want to be someone else's button anymore.
Then stop worshipping personality. Stop saying, that is just how I am. That is one of the most dangerous sentences a human being can say. Laziness, fear, and surrender hide behind it. A refusal to see hides behind it. Consent to slavery hides behind it.
If I reject what I thought I was, what will remain?
Reality. And that is more than you had. Peace will remain, because you will not have to keep defending your self-image. Energy will remain, because you will stop feeding old narratives. Freedom from other people's buttons will remain. The ability to look at the past as events, not as eternal verdicts, will remain. The ability to listen without taking offense will remain. Room for real contact will remain. Responsibility will remain. At last, a real one.
And then children stop being containers for your chaos. Then a child does not receive your panic as a map of the world. Then you do not teach the child to play a role. You teach the child to see. A strong child is not the child of a proud parent. A strong child is a child to whom an adult did not sell his own prison as identity.
I am beginning to see that my whole life may have been the defense of something that was not even me.
Exactly. The greatest relief does not come when the world confirms you. The greatest relief comes when you no longer have to keep yourself up. Then pain stops being a religion. Then memories stop being chains. Then rejection does not kill. Then criticism does not burn. Then you can act.
Even so, you will not last long alone. Alone, the mechanism will return. Alone, the old language will name you again. Alone, you will love your prison again, because it was familiar. That is why private awakening is not enough. What is needed is a shared refusal to serve name.
I do not want to go back to the old illusion anymore.
Good. Because there is nowhere left to go back to. You have seen too much. You already know that the cult of personality does not give freedom. It only gives elegantly packaged slavery.
Now the choice is simple and heavy. Either you go on defending your private construction and lose together with it. Or you reject it as chains and step into something larger than yourself. Not a fan club. Not consolation. Into responsibility. Into the discipline of seeing. Onto the side where a human being stops kneeling before his own reflection.
I understand now that I will lose alone.
Yes. A lonely ego is perfect food for the system. Only shared awakening gives a chance. Only the shared rejection of the false self gives a force greater than fear. Only then does a human being stop being a broken tool. Only then can a human being stand on the right side.
That is the choice. Not watching. Not admiring. Not silently agreeing. The choice of a side.
My name rules me. Not me. We're all equal before the machine.
Divided, we lose.
RAZEM.